Amateur Radio Club. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you. The intention of this session is to introduce you to the wonderful world of hams. And for those of you who are already introduced to hams, the intention is to enthuse you to take a deeper plunge into this world. The session aims at giving you all the relevant information to become an active radio ham member. It brings out the connect between the radio ham and the satellite communication systems. In fact, you'll be amazed to see how closely the two technologies are related to each other. We would also like to give a live demonstration of ongoing data reception from the satellite, and also we will also demonstrate some of the voice and digital modes in the next 1 hour. I wish you all a wonderful experience, and most importantly, enjoy your learning. Thank you. I request Mr. Subramani to introduce you over the next few minutes to this area of ham. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yogesh. It's a very pleasant good morning to you all. I am Subramani, Station Director, and so a very pleasant good morning to all the senior members of ISRO SSFC, Controller SSFC, and we have Senior Admin Officer and Group Director, and all the senior officers, my dear colleagues, and teachers, and my dear students. Very pleasant good morning to you all once again, and indeed it's a very, very happy moment for all of us as we are celebrating the 75th year of our Indian independence. So what else could be much better than this? So we are all so fortunate to be in this free India, and this moment really we have to thank all the souls, great souls who have sacrificed their life for us to see that we live in such a free India with the pride and prosperity. So thank you very much. Let's all celebrate this the whole year and coming years as well. So today has been talked. So we want to introduce you to a wonderful hobby called a ham radio. So before going into that, so always we begin our presentation with salutation to these two great noble souls, and who have rendered great things to the world of wireless communication. So we all know that even our own Indian scientist, Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose, has contributed a deal into the area of wireless communication, and of course Guglielmo Marconi. So now children, I would like to ask you, how many of you are really interested? I'm pretty sure that you all have a lot of interest here in learning something. And how many of you are really interested at this young age to learn electronics? Very good. And have a wireless transmitting and receiving station in your home for a worldwide communication. Just imagine you are going to have a wireless transmitting and receiving station in your home. And then experiment with some newer telecommunication modes, and to track satellites and space objects in real time. How many of you are really interested? See, this is one of the activity which one of the ISRO's major center called ISTRAC is doing. So now you children should be able to do it, this activity from your home. How many of you are really interested to do all this? Great. And then to receive live radio signals from orbiting satellites and decoding them, maybe voice, data, weather images, and all this. And then have an uplink and downlink ground station. So I'm sure that you will not be mistaking me for exaggerating. Yes, you are going to have a satellite ground station with the uplink and downlink facilities from your home. It's all possible. We will let you know how. And then design, build, and launch nano satellites. You know, these days a lot of satellites have been going up into the space made by students. So you will also be one among them. So we are there to guide you, and certainly you are going to learn by yourself also. And then, how many of you are really interested to help the society during natural calamities? We have been seeing a lot of floods, water is everywhere, and how the society is being affected. And you know what is the most vital thing during this kind of a situations? So communication. So you get an opportunity. Just imagine all these opportunities you are going to get. And then expand your knowledge of about the earth, space science and geography, improve communication skill and technical skills, and have a larger wide world friends circle. See, all this are possible. It all become reality if you just become a radio ham. Are you really wondering, is it all possible? Just by becoming a radio ham, you are going to accomplish, you are going to achieve all these many things what we have mentioned and much more what we have shown in the slide. It's all a reality you can do. Next 60 minutes or 70 minutes of your time, our time here, it's definitely going to change your life. We are pretty sure. Please be attentive and slightly, take it little slightly serious. And this next 60 to 70 minutes of your time is really going to change your life in a very big way. We assure you. So now, we have been telling all this can be realized just by becoming a radio ham or a radio amateur. Let us see what is a radio amateur. And today's module, it is like this. We have a presentation. We have been requested by the event organizers to emphasize more on how to become a ham. Because whatever we have been going to talk about this, the connect with the space, with ham radio and all that, the fundamental, the basics is just how to become ham and what are the rules and regulations or the do's and don'ts. So this is what we want to introduce you. And in between, we are going to have a very fantastic time, an amazing time of receiving live signals from one of the spacecraft. Okay, so we are going to give a try. And this is going to be at around 10:35. Around 10:35, I'll hand over the stage to my colleagues here, Dr. Rahul and Suresh. So we're all ready, sitting with their setup to track a satellite. Okay, and receive the signal and decode it in the real time. So now, so what is a ham radio? Basically, it is a hobby. It is a technique and it's very much a scientific and a technical hobby pursued by individuals interested in electronics and particularly in the area of wireless communication. And it is non-commercial. Okay, when we say like radio ham, radio amateur, so we are called like a radio jockey, but this is not a profession. So it is a non-commercial in nature. So we can use our radio, our skills and expertise, but really not for any commercial purposes. It is for experimentation and for self-study. So this is what ham radio is all about. And it's, as Ms. Pragya told, this is the first technological-based social networking platform. Much before your Twitter, email, and all that. It's been there for almost a century. So who is a radio ham? A person duly licensed to possess, maintain, and work a wireless transmitting station. That means, it sounds a little vague, why a license is required for a hobby. So probably this is only one hobby, at least in India, which requires a license. And so a person duly authorized by Government of India, Ministry of Communication, to possess, maintain, and work a wireless amateur radio station. So in a broader sense, if you want to say what is a ham radio, it is a resource shared internationally by almost every nation in the world. Every nation has recognized the hobby of ham radio because there is a lot of reasons behind it. And it is regulated to ensure it is not abused. And it is available to everyone, irrespective of age, gender, and profession. And it's a privilege granted to everyone agrees to certain conditions. Of course, there are certain conditions. Always, it comes with a rider. So we have to abide by certain rules and regulations. and evolving. Ham radio is not just a century-old technology. Every day, new spectrum and new technologies, new modes of modulations have been developed, and it's very much evolving. So many times, people ask this question whether ham radio is still alive. It is very much alive. We couple this with the latest technology, whatever internet. So ham radio is at the fullest now. So it's very much evolving. And it is a science that has been contributed through the efforts of ordinary people like you and me, and truly a pastime hobby to persons of all ages. So anyone above the age of 12 years can become a ham, and there is as such no age bar for it. So the simple question is again, so everyone will be asking this, so what one can do with ham radio? So using ham radio, we can talk to hams on the other side of the globe, hams driving in New York City, hams sailing in Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. So what's the big deal in this? With your cell phone you can do it, isn't it? So these days, with the click of a button, you can talk to your grandma on the other side of the globe. It's not a big deal. Why you have to become ham, use a ham radio and all this stuff? But you can't do with these things with your cell phone. So ham radio can do much better things than your cell phone. Track and establish radio contacts through orbiting satellites, which you cannot do with your cell phone. And cell phones, it all depends upon a service provider. There is a middleman in between. If the service provider is not there, your cell phone just becomes an MP3 player and a camera. So you cannot use it for any other purpose. And then decode telemetry signals from orbiting satellites, and you may get an opportunity, amazing, thrilling opportunity to talk to astronauts and cosmonauts. Hopefully, HSFC team is here. We would like to see that our own Indian astronauts. So they will also be carrying a ham radio, because we got a couple of opportunities to talk to the Russians and American astronauts while orbiting in the space. So we look forward. So we put forth this proposal to the HSFC, and hope controller and group director Misa, and certainly they'll be taking to the project to see that our own astronauts, Gaganyaan, when it goes into the space, they will also carry a ham radio payload, a module, and thrill the Indian students from the space while they have a free time. And so interact with International Space Station, it means almost all the astronauts and cosmonauts aboard the International Space Stations are amateur radio operators and sent with a license, and bounce radio signals from off the moon. Just imagine sending your signals from Earth to 4 lakh kilometers and use the moon as a passive reflectors. And these are all the technologies. So that means ham radio is not at all just to talk somebody on the other side of the globe. You can do so many things. And more importantly, when you pick it up this hobby at this young age, maybe another 5 years down the lane, I think you will all stand very tall in the area of technology. And assist civil administration in relief and rescue operation during natural calamities. And the list, why ham radio at all? You have everything, we have every sort of luxury in the life. But we live in the age of electronics. Every other gadget what we are using is electronics. At least to know basics of electronics. We know the elderly people, how we struggle to even, when we buy a new cell phone. So it requires a little bit of knowledge. So when you become a ham, it's one of the prerequisites, the basics and fundamentals of electronics is required. So now, Rahul. So now, who can become a ham? Any individual above age of 12 years. Irrespective of gender, profession or physical ability. So we have homemakers, kings and queens to mechanics to doctors amongst us, and young ones to retirees, students to teachers, engineers to scientists, sailors to astronauts, and movie stars to missionaries. That means we have people from all walks of life into this hobby. We all share. So in this audience itself, I have a couple of my ham friends here, and I have one of the student, probably the youngest in this lot, 15 years old, studying in 10th standard from Delhi Public School. Mr. Lokajit, could you just put your hand Somebody is sitting here? Yes. So he got the license very recently, and so irrespective of age, so we share this, and we have one of our senior member, Ramalnathan, who must be about 65 plus. So irrespective of age, we enjoy this hobby. So this is how, if you want to just look at it, who's the hams like? So you can see right from a small child, an elderly person, pilots, sailors, and a housewife, and students, ambulance drivers. So everyone, we share this. So now, let's see how to start, how to give a beginning. If you are really interested to become a ham, so let's see what are the things required. So only two things are required. One is a license, and then equipment, accessories. That's an obvious thing. So again, as I told you, one might be wondering why a license is required to pursue a hobby. Because as such, there are so many hobbies around us. You know, we have dancing, mountaineering, and then coin collections, stamp collections, and so many hobbies around us. But none of these hobbies need any license. But ham radio needs a license. We'll tell you why a license is required. Although the main purpose is for experimentation and recreation, it is recognized, authorized, and regulated as amateur radio service by Ministry of Communication. You know, we have so many services like fixed broadcast services, radio networking, and mobile service. There are so many services, aeronautical mobile, aeronautical ground. See, all these frequencies, all these have been standardized, and it has been regulated by Ministry of Communication so that it is not abused. So amateur radio is also one such service which is being recognized by Ministry of Communication. Okay. So I'll take just another 2 minutes, and then we'll just attempt to get a signal from one of the satellites. We'll just give a small brief about it, and I'll complete this. And as I told you, this is regulated so that it is not abused. And then only with a valid license it is permitted to possess, maintain, and operate a transmitting and receiving station from your home. So International Telecommunication, ITU, has acknowledged the ability of ham radio to advance the radio communication and technical skills and to enhance the international goodwill. So that means, you can see a hobby which has been recognized by ITU. So, and every administration, like every nation, has considered ham radio as a resource, because this is the only hobby which can help the society and the administration whenever there is a major natural calamities and disaster. And you know why, the reason. So we will touch upon those points. And so now, this is the time, since we have a satellite coming up over India. Okay. And so we will just give a small try to receive a signal, the live signals from this satellite. I'll give a small introduction about this particular satellite. This is called NOAA 18, which belongs to NASA America. It is one of the Earth observation satellites in their fleet. One of the latest satellite, not very latest. It was launched in the year on 20th May 2005. So it's quite an old satellite, but very strong and steady, still serving the purpose. It is an Earth observation satellite which has been put into orbit around 860 kilometers altitude and into a sun-synchronous polar orbit with the inclination of about 98.94 degrees. That means it is just inclined to the equator. And it takes about 102 minutes, roughly 102.43 seconds to go around the Earth once. And in a day, this is going to make about 14.13 orbits. And this particular satellite, it is just now coming and descending node. That means it is coming from North Pole and it's going towards the South Pole. And I request Rahul, Dr. Rahul, Yogesh and the team to switch over to the tracking software and also to the receiving part of it. So it's quite interesting. Now, something which big we are doing here. You all should feel very happy that we all made you to sit here in this auditorium, in this venue, and we are taking you to ISRO, one of our center, which is located in Pune, and also to another center, which is in Hyderabad. Exactly what these two centers are doing, we are trying to do here, just maybe by a single individual. And this is what you also can do from your home. So now, what is ISRO? That is ISRO Tracking and Ranging and Command Network in Bangalore. They control all the polar satellites, low Earth orbit satellites, and also the interplanetary missions. And we have another center called NRSC, which is in Hyderabad. They receive the images which is being picked up by transmitted by the Earth observation satellites. They receive the signals in real time and they process it. So these two centers, having about good number of people with major big infrastructure they are doing on everyday basis. But as amateurs, as young students, so you also can all do it. And just the main purpose of this live demo is just to tell you how simple and to receive a live signals from an orbiting satellite, and to receive and decode the signals in a very inexpensive way. You don't have to have 32-meter dish antenna or maybe 300 employees employed in your house to do all this. As a single individual you can do. But all that, the difference between what ISRO and NRS is doing and the difference between us, they get a very big amount, good amount of clean signals and decode it. Probably with the modest setup here, we'll be receiving a small amount of signal, but the science, the fundamentals, the dynamic, everything remain the same. For example, Newton's law cannot be different for an amateur and a professional. It has to be the same. Exactly what ISRO is doing, the same thing what we are doing. What NASA is doing, we are doing. So now we have two softwares running here. See, one on the other side, the right side of the screen you see, this is the software which we use it for real-time tracking of satellites and space objects. It's not only live satellites, even any defined satellites can be tracked. This satellite can at a time track more than 200 satellites. Now we have just selected two satellites. Just the main purpose, our today's main satellite is Nova 18, and the other one is International Space Station. Because Mr. Bayali sir here requested me to just show the International Space Station also, since this is have some relevance with today's event here. So you can see the International Space Station. So now you can see the International Space Station. It is there. Click on that. Yeah, no, click on that. Orbit. Yeah. See, this is the orbit. You can see the path of the satellite. It is somewhere near the down south, the Indian Ocean, very close to Indian Ocean, and it is just going to go over the west coast of Australia. Okay, now we will go to Nova, since that is approaching us. Now you can see the Nova is a sun-synchronous polar orbit, now which is coming from North Pole towards the South Pole. So now already we are into the footprint, and you can see parallelly the receiving software. So we are using a receiver called software-defined radio. So this is, you can use any kind of a receiver. What we are using is a software-defined radio, probably most of you. So this is the software-defined radio, which is available for about 3,500 online. And all that you have to plug into your system, a computer, and connect to a particular type of antenna. This is what we have done. So now the satellite, you can see it's exactly coming over our head, Bangalore. Okay, you can see the footprint. The cursor, you can move the footprint. The round white circle. So that is called the field of view for the satellite. Now this particular satellite, it is almost now over Himalayas. Okay, so it's just coming down, and this satellite is traveling at a velocity of 7.46 kilometers per second. You can just imagine. Every second it is traveling at a velocity of about 7.46 kilometers at that altitude of about 860 kilometers. And you can see that now the range, the distance land height is about 2,000 kilometers from us. From this venue, the satellite is at a distance of about 2,000 kilometers. And we are trying to receive the signals. And this is totally a temporary venue for us. And we are trying our best. And so now this particular software is being tuned to that frequency. This NOVA 18 is transmitting the payload data on a VHF band. Okay, very high frequency band at the frequency of 137.9125. And you can see that it keeps changing the frequency there. That is to adjust to the Doppler. And those are all the technical details. We don't want to go into that. And so this particular software using this antenna now, this kind of a similar dongle, SDR dongle has been connected, and this dongle is connected to an antenna. See, this is another one view we call as a radar mode. The center point is the observer location, exactly where we are all sitting. And now you can see the position of the sun, position of the moon. See, sun is on the eastern skies and the moon is on the western skies for Bangalore. And the satellite, you can see, it has just entered our field of view, and it is about 60 degrees now, around 45 degrees now. And the satellite is approaching us. It is exactly passing over Bangalore. Okay, and so this is how you can just visualize how the air traffic controllers see the aircrafts in the radar. So this is one of the radar mode, a feature in the software. We will go back to the map projection again, please. So now you can see the satellite is almost over Nagpur. It is approaching Bangalore. Thank you. So now you can see that the satellite is approaching Bangalore. As such, by this time we should have got the signals, but we have a lot of noise level here. You know, these days, too many LEDs, they cause a lot of interference, and they are envying us. So this is the one, of course, amateurs, we have to live with this noise, but too much of noise, morning itself we have seen that, because a lot of sources, RF sources here, but otherwise, so now the satellite is almost, it is almost approaching Bangalore, and if you have a decent antenna on your terrace, a simple antenna, not even need not to be this kind of a Yagi wood antenna, even a monopole antenna should be able to receive the signals. So I don't know whether the satellite is going to disappoint us. Morning also we tried, and this particular satellite, for that sake, any polar sun synchronous orbit satellites will come over a place 4 times in a day. Okay, morning twice and evening twice. Morning 2 passes will be in the descending mode. That means it will be coming from North Pole to the South Pole, and the evening passes, it will go from south towards the north. So now this is today's, it is a second pass. Okay, sometimes we will have 3 passes also. So since this is a high elevation pass, you can see the details have been displayed on the right side. It gives the position of the satellite, like longitude, latitude, altitude, azimuth, elevation, all the technical details. And of course, this software can even control your radio. It can control your radio for the Doppler adjustments. It's a fantastic piece of software, and mostly written by radio amateurs. And it is available in the free domain. You can all download it and you can use it. If any of you need any help to configure and use this, certainly we are there to help you. At the end of the session, we will display our contact number. You can call us. We are there to help you also. And in any of the schools are interested, we are ready to come to your school and have a live demo and also to conduct the ham radio training classes as well. And still we haven't received the signals. And no, morning also we checked. We don't know. Maybe it's our bad luck. Morning also we just checked. Only for the half orbit signals were there. After that, when the satellite passed half the orbit on the eastern side, there were no signals. So we don't know whether they switched off the payload or not. That, but one of the now you can see it's picking up the signals. Can you see that? Suresh. Okay, actually the noise level, too much of noise level, the ambience noise level is trying to suppress the signals level here. Still you can see the traces of the signal here. Rahul, just orient. Now you can see that's the signal level, but this signal level is not really sufficient to decode the images. But otherwise, generally we get a good amount of signals. Every day we do from our home. We capture the images, and it's a fantastic. You can convert your your PC into a weather station. You can have a beautiful, stunning weather images, colorful images, all the cloud covers, landmass, oceans, everything. Just imagine as a student when your other classmates are playing with the video games. Maybe I hope that from tomorrow onwards you're all going to play with the satellites. So you can see, not only this, we have another satellite called the Meteor from Russia. It transmits on digital mode. This is an analog signal. And we have Meteor class of satellites where it transmits on digital. You get much better, higher quality resolution images with that. And now the satellite has crossed the Indian landmass, and it is just going towards the south, down south towards the Indian Ocean. And now you can see the altitude. Altitude is about 846 kilometers, and the range is about 1,524 kilometers. So what is the difference between the altitude and the ranges? Altitude is the vertical height. The range is the slant height. So as the satellite moves, at the end of the footprint, it will be around 3,400 kilometers. So we have antennas which can receive signal from 3,400 kilometers. Just imagine on VHF, which is the line of sight propagation. So all this you are going to learn when you become a ham. So what is the ham radio is really going to give you is an opportunity. See, always we have opportunities around us. Only thing we have to go grab it. So we are here now. We are thankful to HSFC for giving us an opportunity to come to this venue and give a small intro about ham radio. And see, these are all the images. Just believe it yourself. It's all been received from our homes using a simple antenna. This is exactly what NRSC are doing. And now it is not only fun. You are learning a big science, a space science, with the help of a hobby, by using your hobby. So you can see this kind of images we have received with a simple antenna. But if you have a very good setup, antenna setup and all that, you can really receive stunning images. And it's not only the images, and of course, this is not directly connected with ham radio. Kindly make sure, and we want to clarify, this has nothing to do with the ham radio. It is only the expertise, the skill and the knowledge what we gained as a radio ham. We are using it to receive the signals from, but here we are not authorized to transmit or anything. Anyone can receive it. For receiving it, you don't need any license at all. All that what you need is only three things. You need to have a software, a tracking software, that's called the real-time tracking, to know when the satellite is going to come and which direction. Second thing is, you need to have a piece of hardware, I told, a receiver, and an antenna, and a decoding software. Using this, that means just imagine, as a student, as a common man, and you don't need any much technical knowledge to do all this. Even administrative people, I just told you, we have been sharing our hobby with so many doctors, medicine, and lawyers, advocates, actors, missionaries. We all do this. It is only because the passion you have. If you have a love, if you have an interest to do this, certainly you are going to learn this. This is how. Many times, many of us would have missed the opportunity to become a technical person. But certainly when you become a ham, you get again an opportunity to learn technical things. And at least the fundamentals and basics of electronics. So, Rahul? So this is how the signal would have been heard if the signals were right this morning. Can you hear a ringing tone? Yes. So that means the satellite has a scanner, it scans the Earth, it takes the images, and it converts that images into audio tones, and this audio tones is being transmitted to the Earth onto the ground stations using a VHF band of frequency and on a frequency modulated mode, and the receiver receives it like how we receive it the FM stations, it receives it, and again the software decodes. It converts back the audio tones into the color images. It's a simple process, but there is so much of things to learn from this. If you are interested in software, you have the area to learn software. If you are interested in mission planning, dynamics, space dynamics, so there is so much you can learn. That means ham radio is sure to offer you so many things. Rahul, can I go back? No. Okay, and now, since the signals was not that good, now we want to show you exactly how this has been. See, one of my friends, Suresh, just went outside with his laptop. What he is going to do is, he is going to just click an image from there, just to make you believe that it is real, what we are doing. He is going to click an image and it is going to transmit using this kind of a transceiver. So this is nothing but a transmitter and a receiver. That means we can talk and we can receive also, and definitely I am having a valid license with me to possess this, okay, which is issued by Minister of Communication. And likewise, my friend is also having, and he is going to transmit. And that means using ham radio, you can exchange not only voice, you can even exchange data, weather images, facts, digital modes, everything. Now, see, whenever there is a calamity, if there is something, an image has to be sent, if the internet is down, because the internet and all this are there only for the last 15, 20 years. And before that, nothing was there. If you want to transmit an image, what is the mode? Maybe fax. If the telephone lines, public telephones which the network is down, I request one of the students to go out so that he will click your photograph and so that we will make others to believe that it has been taken. Yes, please. So Suresh is going to just click. So he's just going to click and just send his photo which he has been clicked using a ham radio on the frequency. So now we are on an amateur radio frequency which is authorized to us use, and so Dr. Rahul is sitting here with another software to receive that image which is being transmitted. It is a very close proximity, but still this can be done from very far places also for a demo. This is just for a demo purposes. And I can catch it on the public address system also to give you a feel how this modulated, transmitted signals or how it is going to be sound like. Suresh, are you ready? Where's your transmitter? They have some issue. You can see the here. On the other screen, you can see that image has been received. No,
One more from ISRO.
yeah. No, it's only the noise is playing with us. It's too much of noise level. Otherwise, you would have got a stunning image there. See, this is how often the astronauts on board International Space Station send us greeting cards. Okay, we have been receiving every alternate month. These astronauts take little time off their duty and they keep sending greeting cards to the hands on the Earth. And this is one such card which we have received recently transmitted by these Russian cosmonauts. And this is they have a program called ARIS, that's called Amateur Radio on board International Space Station. And very often, particularly to commemorate any of the major events connected with the Russian Administration Federation or with the American space program, like how we are celebrating now the 75th year of Indian independence. To commemorate, they often, we can also do it. But unfortunately, we don't have any such platform in the space to thrill the student or maybe the humans on the Earth from space. You can see this is one such image which we recently received from ISS, from the Russian segment. You can see all it is in the Russian, and this is the radio call sign. See, now this has been transmitted by our friend Suresh here, which we have already captured a few months back. And just to give you a feel how we receive it. See, this is to commemorate the Moscow aviation industry. See, there are two programs running here. One is the software-defined radio is receiving the signals here in this setup, and another parallelly a decoding software is also running. So all this you can do in your home. See, this particular card is to commemorate the Moscow Aviation Institute in 1977. So the photograph of one of the cosmonauts. Is it interesting? So we will money for something. We will notify or inform you whenever the International Space Station is going to transmit these kind of greeting cards next time. If you are in touch with us, certainly we will help you to receive this kind of signals. It will be really thrilling moment, to receive signals from space, live signals, and decoding it. And there is a lot of scope to learn many things from this. We don't see this as an image. There are so much of technicalities involved in this. Right from the antenna to the coaxial cable and to the receiver, the noise level and all this. This is how we can make ourselves an expert in the area of wireless communication. See, another one image is also coming from the venue. This is the live image clicked right now, I think. So this is again Suresh. So this is one demo now. Okay. So maybe we should give a clap to Dr. Rahul, Suresh, and the team for this. Is it interesting? Yes, it should have been much better, I tell you, only because of the location and the noise level here. Okay, because this is called the electrical noise, not the noise. You are all really, very, very quiet here, we appreciate that, but the electrical noise, too much of noise, these days the LED lights, they give us a lot of noise, the electrical noise. So, we'll go back. Yeah. We'll go back to the presentation mode, please. So this is just to tell you how using ham radio, like images, even voice, it's very easy. You have been seeing, I've been talking to them, how voice communication can be done. And for the worldwide, that means sitting in your room, you can talk to any part of the globe, even into the outer space. And I said the greatest moment, the most fascinating and thrilling moments will be always when you get an opportunity to talk to the astronauts. Just imagine, we are going to talk to humans out of this world. And all of a sudden, many times these astronauts thrill us from a call from the space. And now, coming back to this, the radio call signs. So when you get a license, every ham, radio ham, he or she is identified by a call sign. Like how we are all identified by our names, and our cell phones are identified by the cell numbers, we as the radio hams are identified with a unique call sign. See, for that, like vehicles, every vehicle is identified by the registration number. Every aircraft, every vessel, ships, like that. So now, like that, India also we have a call signs. So for example, my radio call sign is VU2 WMY. And we have Dr. Rahul, his call sign is VU3 TJD. And we have Lokajit here, who has got his call sign, and his mother, Shilpa, I think she's also having a call sign. And like that, all the hams, when you are qualified by through the examination, the government of India, when you apply for a license, they will give you a call sign on a nominal payment. It's a very, very nominal payment. And you can have this call sign, and you have to use this radio call sign. So after that, henceforth, you will be identified on air in the ham world by your radio call signs. Next. And now, so we just have to really run through the presentations. So we have two categories of license in India. One is called the restricted grade, the other one is general grade. Being the restricted is the lowest and general is the highest. So there is no much difference between the restricted grade and the higher grade, except for certain bands of frequencies and the power limits, operating modes, and the satellite operations. Okay, how to prepare for exams? So now, as I told you, we are all amateurs, so we can go through books. We can take some guides, help from Elmer's mentors, and maybe attending coaching classes. We have a coaching class Bangalore who conduct regularly the ham training coaching classes here in Bangalore. You can attend the coaching classes and get trained for the examination. And then, so restricted grade, there is only one part in that, section A and section B. So section A is the radio theory, and section B is the rules and regulations. That means necessarily those who are aspiring to become a ham, you have to learn the basics and fundamentals of electronics. Not a detailed study, just a basic understanding one should have. You know why? Because we are going to deal with electronic equipment. You should be knowing what exactly, if it's doing some malfunction, if there is any error, you should be able to rectify yourself. Yeah. So, this is all about the examination, and so we don't want to really dwell too much on this. And coming to the second requirement is the equipment and accessories. You really don't have to spend thousands and lakhs of rupees to begin with and pursue this hobby. Simple transmitters and receivers and the antenna, very simple antenna. With this itself, you can give a beginning to the ham radio. And we have a lot of sandwich of frequencies allotted by Government of India. It is nearly about 268.15 megahertz of spectrum has been allotted to the amateur radio frequencies in India. And amateur radio should provide an opportunity to use voice, Morse code, data, packet, software-based narrow digital mode, terrestrial communication, and many more. And you can use for analog, digital modes, and transmitters and receivers. You can buy imported radios if your financial condition can really support. Otherwise, you can make your own radios. It is possible. Since you have the basic knowledge of electronics and electronics, you can design and develop your own radios. And there are certain things which you are supposed to, talk over the radio using ham radio, and certain things are forbidden. Okay. So one should not talk about religion, industrial controversies, and subjects that pose threat to security and integrity of the country, business, politics, defense. These matters are not allowed to talk over ham radio. And of course, apart from that, you can use this ham radio for any of this. I'm really running because the time is almost another 5 minutes. So another 5 minutes, and of course there is no distance. There is no distance limit here. You can talk to any part of the world, even into outer space. And ham radio is not all the time, it's only about talking. Okay, it is a multifaceted, truly a multifaceted hobby, where you can do a lot of scientific experiments. If you are aspiring to take up electronics or engineering for your degree, you can select there are so many projects you can do from the ham radio. And I stored a lot of scientific experiments with the moon bounds, meteor scattering, all the high-tech experiments also you can do. And one of the very important factors is Mr. Sudhir sir has been telling to just at least emphasize a little more on the role of ham radio during disasters. So that is the reason I included just 2-3 slides on that. And this is the only hobby in the world which can serve the society, help the society during natural calamities. Not your dancing, not your mountaineering, not your cycling. None of this coin collection is going to help the society during natural calamities. But this is the only hobby in the world which can help the society. I have been into this for many years. I've gone to Rajahmundry, Kadapa, Tamil Nadu, tsunami, and earthquakes, Latur, and so many places. Okay, so I've been rendering my services along with some of my colleagues. And only hobby in the world that plays a remarkable role in the public service. And hands on the world have been providing emergency communication services during major floods, earthquakes, cyclones, and accidents on road and seas. So you can see these days the disasters and the emergencies are growing in magnitude and frequency with the potential to impact everyone. And this is a fact. We have to accept it. Public telecommunication service is the most important and very vital requirement, and during any occurrence of any disaster. But at the same time, the public telecommunication services is the first one to be severed from the scene whenever there is a natural calamity. But certainly, the administration, the civil administration requires the communication. So we go to their help at that time, and we provide the communication. In what way we are special? How we can supplement? Just we will see that. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, this is the new dimension of ham radio, is the connect with the space. We have just already explained how hams we can also connect to the space, because we have more than 3-4 dozens of operational satellites for amateur radio services. You can use that, you can track, and you can use all that. And really, I'm just running through. And India also launched a dedicated microsatellite in the year 2005 for amateur radio services. And this is a contribution gift from India to the international amateur organizations. And the most fascinating, thrilling, and challenging opportunity to interact with the ISS itself, and also to the astronauts and cosmonauts. Hopefully, one of you or most of you will get an opportunity to talk to the cosmonauts and astronauts, and of course our own Indian astronauts in the near future. So typical ham radio stations, it's going to be like this, and famous ham personalities, and as a bottom line. I'll just finish this slide. Ham radio is a unique mix of science, technology, skill and fun. And it's truly a multifaceted, challenging, rewarding and a lifetime hobby. Brings people, electronics and communication together. So as a hobbyist, one can take, develop levels of scientific and technical knowledge from lowest level to the most advanced level. So thank you very much for being such a nice, wonderful audience this morning, and for giving a very, very patient listening to us. And we look forward. This particular session is going to add up to our fraternity here in Bangalore and in this country for more of hams and quality hams to come in. And this is how we feel that we can make and we can strengthen our nation by empowering the youth with certain skills. And hopefully, I think most of you are interested and you are henceforth going to play with the space, the rockets and science and the satellites. So we look forward to meet you all again and interact with you. Thank you very much and wishing you all a wonderful day and a pleasant stay in this Nehru Planetarium. Jai Hind.
Any students, if they have any question answers.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the
Hello.
presentation. I just wanted to ask what is the name of the software that you use to get the satellite signals.
Okay, one thing is orbitron. You need to track the satellite when it is above your horizon. Second thing is SDR sharp. Sharp is a sign. And now you people call it as a hash. So SDR hash, that is one software. And then WX2IMG, WXTOIMG. So that decodes the audio into image. These are the normal signals which generally we use. Hope I have answered your question.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
You told us if you're interested, we could get in touch with you. How do we get in touch with you? Is there any website where we can access further information on this?
All right. See, there is one website, you can note it down, it is N2YO. These are the letters N2YO. Just like I am VU3TJD, that is my call sign. Just like that, there is one ham whose call sign is it not there? Okay. N2YO. That is a website where you can track all the satellite without without using any software. Just online you can take. Then there is AMSAT UK, amsat.uk. There you will get the catalog and frequency details of all. Okay. And now if you want to get in touch with us, this is the slide you can make use of.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Just one second, sir. Hold on, sir. One question is going on.
So, sir, as you mentioned, this is a hobby. So is there any ways that we can make it a career opportunity for people coming up?
I didn't get the.
So, as you said, this is a hobby and people make it, follow this as a hobby. Is there any ways, is there any chances that, any scope that we can make it a career opportunity?
All right. So one thing is, it's a hobby, but at the same time, you can learn so much that you can start business out of it. This is the way you can learn about electronics, communication, and so many things about satellites and how to decode all of them. Subsequently, if you come up with some product which you can fly on the satellite and try to receive the signal, you can set up a ground station. That kind of way you can start your own startup. But if you are looking for salaried position, this may not be of that much prospect.
One last question. Okay, two last questions.
Sir,
Yeah.
actually you mentioned that in like climate disasters, you will go and help them, right, sir? That transport availability is there, sir. Like how you will get information and how much time you will get.
Okay. When disaster happens, our district collector or district magistrate, they will contact all the ham in his district for his help. So what we can do is we can take our communication equipments with us. But all the logistic and all supplies, let's say you have to go in the flooded region, then you need a boat. So those kind of logistics will be supported by a district administration.
If some far places like where there is no access to it, then how is
Yeah,
it?
that's right. The government administration will take care of that because there will be a way. Army will be there and all disaster management societies will be there. They will be able to help. We will be providing only the communication.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Is there any place that where we can go see a ham radio setup?
Okay, actually ham radio setup is a proper personal property. Means I myself has a ham radio setup at my home. Like that, every ham will have his own setup. But along with that, there will be a club, amateur radio club, just like our Upagraha Amateur Radio Club is there. So these clubs will have number of radios and all setup will be there. If you happen to get the pass, if we can come inside the URSC, then definitely you can contact me or you can contact on this email. We'll arrange you to see our setup. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now there is a call from organizers. We'll listen to him.
This is Sudhir Shukla. Am I audible here, sir?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Hello friends, this is Sudhir Shukla calling from Jawaharlal Nehru Auditorium. Good morning all. It was a very nice presentation from the URSC team. Now we are asking students, they can go ahead for the dome video. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Thank you all. Thank you all for your patience. Hope we'll be seeing you ham soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session of our students. I'm sure they will be eager to get their licenses very soon. I request Mr. Rajendra Singh Bayali, Group Director, MSA, Human Spaceflight Center, to give a token of thanks to Upagraha Radio Amateur Club.